Signs of resistance from the presidential security as the arrest team encounters a wall of vans blocking their path. CIO officials got off from their cars and entered the presidential residence on foot. Approximately 20 presidential security officers are in Yoon's residence and are resisting Yoon's arrest. CIO officials are having a standoff, a tense moment now. All of this discontent happening in South Korea and not a peep from the United States of America. If you want to understand where the State Department's interests lie, understand that, you know, I don't think they care as much, regardless of who ends up manning the helm, you know, grabbing the reins of Korean power. But having said that, they do not have stop the steal. Oh my God, they have stop the steal signs. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're going to be like, build the wall. Beautiful image. They are literally wearing MAGA hats. They very much care. Korean Democrats will kill military alliance with Japan.
South Korean president who tried to institute martial law and was removed and suspended from office. You can see the crowd here, including MAGA hat, American flags. We can take it through the crowd here. These are, of course, hardcore conservative supporters who are trying to block the arrest. There is now an arrest warrant for the president who has been impeached. These people very passionate, protesting all day, in fact, laying down in front of his residence. At one point, they want this police action to stop. They say it is wrong, and President Yoon is encouraging his supporters to do so. Very animated crowd.
Amazing. That is amazing, dude. Young Koreans in their 20s and 30s know how much China has infiltrated Korea, the National Assembly, the media, elections, etc. They are out at night in the cold to stop the arrest of President Yoon, to stand with him against anti-state forces influenced by the Chinese Communist Party. South Korean citizens gather in front of the presidential residence to prevent the arrest of President Yoon Suk-yeol immediately after an arrest warrant was issued for his arrest. Wait, are these actually the incel armies trying to defend the incel president, or are these people protesting the president? Worth noting that it is mainly men between 1929 that like former President Yoon. So yes, this is the incel army. You'll notice how other protests were just listening to girl group music because women were driving force behind the impeachment protest compared to this. Why are you calling the president incel? Because he is an incel. So the National Police has an arrest warrant that they are trying to arrest them. But it seems like he has bunkered up. XBC is protesting the North Korean spies. You should debate him. What the hell is that? The North Korean spies? Yes, chatters. He has a wife, I know, and he loves his wife. But also, he still drummed up support from the incel forces. XBC are streaming from the pro-Yoon protest trying to block his arrest. They went full Korean MAGA saying that the commies are taking over. That's amazing. Oh, God, I love how stupid our politics are and how they end up corrupting the minds of politics enjoyers globally. That's amazing. My mom's in the Korean alt-right pipeline thinking that North Korea and China was behind the airplane crash and other conspiracies, and thinks that Yoon Suk-yeol was 100% in the right, getting rid of all the corruption. Is there anything I can do? That is amazing, dude. They're saying stop the steal in English too.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
We will never atone for the crimes that we have committed, okay? America's interventions around the globe are so vast and so severe and so awful and also endlessly persistent. Like, colonization doesn't even begin to explain this. Yeah, this is like beyond imperialism. The amount of brain rot that we have exported to the globe is crazy. Update: South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's lawyer said Friday that investigators are trying to detain the impeached leader were not acting lawfully, vowing to take further legal action against the move. Investigators have court-ordered warrant to detain Yoon. Third Korea possible? Who knows?
Today and through this weekend, things could come to a boil and to a head, obviously. We have not gotten any reports yet whether the team of investigators have teamed up with the police to try and essentially break their way through hundreds of Yoon supporters who have rallied outside of the presidential residence, as Yoon is said to be inside and staying there and refusing to cooperate. In fact,
there's a reason why it's awfully weird suspicious, maybe even a little too convenient that Joseph Robinette Brandon hasn't said anything about President Yoon's ridiculous actions so far, which leads me to believe, given the position of South Korea as the bulwark against socialism during the Cold War, bulwark against the USSR during the Cold War, and DPRK's allegiance and closeness to Russia, I would go so far as to say that this would detangle the DPRK, decouple the DPRK from Russia if they were too busy engaging with South Korea, which leads me to suspect that maybe the State Department is not upset. Maybe they're upset that that Yoon was a little too stupid and couldn't pull it off, but I don't think they were upset at the attempt. As a matter of fact, they might have even signed off on the attempt. That's all I'm saying. And if you think that that is a far-fetched conspiracy theory, you sound like Alex Jones. I sound like Alex Jones. This is what I mean. When it comes to foreign policy, so many people are just simply oblivious to like America's involvement and intervention in every country, especially a country like South Korea, a nation that like only exists because America divided the country, that has a permanent military base on the nation state. And you're like, oh, that's just like Alex Jones. Yeah, that's just like vampire lizard people. You're right. Yes. DPRK sending soldiers to Ukraine and aligning itself with Russia is obviously something that the American government doesn't appreciate. So would the American government use a vassal state like South Korea to forcibly remove that allegiance? Certainly. I think the real interesting party in this equation is China, because I don't think China itself is all too happy about Russia's ongoing efforts of occupying Ukraine. China is Mr. Don't fuck up the bag. China is Mr. Look at our fucking wonderful trains. China as a nation state is like, oh, dude, look at all the innovative technological product that we're putting out there. Look, we have 6th generation fighter jets. Look how sweet they are. So China doesn't like that Russia is, one, consistently waging war in Ukraine. They've made that very clear. And two, China probably doesn't appreciate that Russia and North Korea are more firm in their relationship with one another. That probably threatens Chinese control over North Korea.
His legal team yesterday issued or made a petition in court as well to essentially say that any move to get the police and the anti-corruption investigators together would be an illegal move. In fact, this arrest warrant and the proceedings so far, the Yoon team has called illegal and invalid. So there's a standoff essentially right now, and we're going to have to see how this obviously plays out. It might not happen today. It could potentially happen over the weekend, but something will happen by Monday, obviously, when the arrest warrant potentially expires.
What they're reporting in the news isn't exactly what people are saying here in Korea. What are people saying in Korea? That the president is actually brave and we must stop the steal? Is that what you're going to say? The congressman had discretionary spending where they could basically spend what they want. The opposing party wanted to audit them. Okay. What part does the congressman who were being audited refused to work with Yoon? So here's the question. What's the part where Yoon purchasing North Korean uniforms to try to do a false flag attack, but then actually doing a martial law without even doing the false flag attack, where that part of the process becomes an issue? I like that you were like, what they're reporting on the news isn't exactly what people are saying here in Korea. And then what you reported to me about what people are saying in Korea are just the Yoon heads. Yeah, I know. I don't have this opinion that other countries are monolithic in their understanding of politics. I'm certain that there are Yoon heads out there, okay? Some Yoonies gooning for Yoon, whatever you want to call it, that are going nutty mode and trying to find ways in which they must defend their beautiful president. Why would you support a Korea that is owned by corporations, run by a handful of ultra-wealthy families, and forces its own workforce to slave away for minimum wages? When did I say that? I don't know what the current attitudes in South Korea are, but considering the recent history of Korea in general, I think that if given the opportunity for unification, I feel like a unified Korea might move more towards social democratic principles rather than turn DPRK and what remains of North Korea into yet another hellish dystopian hyper-capitalist society. Especially because in spite of all of the murder, in spite of all of the death and the destruction and the murder that brutal authoritarian leadership committed, the many crimes that South Korean leadership committed that the American government totally oversaw and offered funding and support for and defense for in times of need, South Koreans still have a pretty robust culture of discontent. Now, of course, that would never happen with as long as American troops are still in South Korea, that'll never happen. But I'll just say it like this. It's not an accident that South Korea experiences so much public discontent. It's also not an accident that they are endlessly divided on gender lines. And it's also not an accident that there's so much of South Korean media talks about, on the one hand, talks about the glories of capitalism and how wonderful it is to be wealthy, aspirational goals presented, okay? While simultaneously, the other half of South Korean media work almost always talks about the parasitic nature of capital.